Hey friends, it's Carol, Saltbox Stitcher, back for another video. Here comes the DH. Nobody's really told me. Is it darling husband, decrepit husband, deceitful husband, darling husband, debonair husband?
You're welcome.
Thank you. I said thank you. So, I know the episode this time. So, this is going to be trivia for you. Turn the tables. Okay, you don't have to say it in case you're going to be coy, but I want you to... Okay, what is your age? Got that number in mind? The age
I'm
you
trying
turned...
to remember.
The age you turned on your last birthday.
Let's see. Okay, I got it. 70,
Okay.
74.
That's not how old you are.
Oh, 75. Time flies being married to you.
Now I want you to add to that the age that most states say you can get a driver's license. Not a permit, but a driver's license.
16?
Yeah. What's your age plus 16?
7 was 8.
Do you need a calculator?
Yeah, I do. I've got stage fright.
Okay.
That would be 80, 90, 90, 90.
Okay, I can't make...
91.
Yeah, thank you. We'll go back to you answering, asking the number, because obviously you can't think on your feet.
You're the right brain. I'm the left brain.
Yeah, whatever that means.
Okay. Bye.
I always say he's right-handed.
I gotta go get the clothes out of the dryer.
Yeah, whatever. There are clothes in the dryer. Fold them while you're at it, will you?
Okay.
See what I have to live with? Ay. Okay, now I forgot where I was. He brought me my coffee, and I want y'all to see this cup. I bought this cup a long time ago. Can you read it? It says, Good Home Quilt Company. Now, there was a shop in Orlando, a small little quilt shop. Wonderful. I was only there one time. And it was owned by Carol Crago. The famous Carol Crago, who's on Instagram, used to own a quilt shop. So that's a little bit of trivia you didn't know. So, and it was very primitive, dark and dirty. It was wonderful. So I still have the cup, Carol, and I still use it. The Good Home Quilt Shop. Anyway. Okay, so what have I been stitching? First of all, oh my gosh, did I forget it again? Okay, I'm gonna pause later and go get something. But first I want to talk about what I've been stitching. So I've kind of stayed on my plan of doing smalls in the late afternoon. Sometimes it bleeds over. That's not a very good. Sometimes it runs through to my stitching after our evening meal. But I've had fun alternating between smalls and samplers because I have a lot of small... You're all like, duh. I have a lot of small charts. Brenda Gervais, Plum Street, Stacy Nash, Lottie Da. Anyway, I'm not going to go on and on, but a lot of smalls that are kitted. I probably have the most of Plum Street and With Thy Needle and Thread, Brenda Gervais. So I've decided, since I'm doing that, I'm going to get more progress on finishing some of those. As much as I like to stitch samplers, I like to have that blend. There's something rewarding about finishing a piece. So I have finished 2. So first I'm going to show you the first thing I finished. And I just finished this past week. And that is The Rabbit and the Rose by Brenda Gervais. I love this piece. I got it, I think it came out last year. I got it last year. So I had a lot of fun doing this. When it got to the tail on the bunny, oh, and by the way, I'll interject. I'm using all the called for except the fabric. The fabric I'm using is Boardwalk by Fiber on a Whim. It's 40 count and it's a little bit tight. There's still 40 linen threads in an inch, so 20 stitches per inch. But each one is just, I think I talked about this last time, is a little thicker. So there's less space between the linen threads. Does that make sense? Hopefully. Anyway, so I'm stitching this, and last week I was at one of the places I meet with friends to stitch, and somebody else was stitching this same piece. So I'm going to insert a picture of hers right here, or here, or here, or here, or here. And you can see how different pieces can look on different linens. We use the exact same colors of floss because it's all DMC. So there's no like variegation because it's over dyed. It's all DMC. It's totally crazy how different the colors show up on different color linen. She's using a very neutral kind of a vanilla colored linen, and her rabbit looks so much darker than mine, and it's just very interesting. So hope you can see that in the picture. So here's so I finished it last week except for the tail, and the tail is done with Whisper, and I thought I had some Whisper. It's by Rainbow Gallery. Whisper. It's that fuzzy stuff. I thought I had some, but actually what I had was alpaca, which I had used on a Santa. Whisper is much finer, but oh my gosh, I thought it was hard. Do you see how fuzzy it is? Let me see if I can get it closer. It's very fuzzy. Now, I don't think it would have been hard if I was using 36 or 32, but to do it on that tight 40 count, it was a little tricky. Anyway, I had to order this before I could finish it, so that's what I did. So again, The Rabbit and the Rose by With Thy Needle and Thread. I was hoping to have it completely FFO'd, but you can see I didn't. So I've just had a lot of quilting lately, and I didn't get it done. So it will get done, though. The next small that I was working on is from Jelly Bean Jubilee by Brenda Gervais again. I'm working on this Easter, which, by the way, happy Resurrection Day next week. And what I have done on that, and I'm doing this on the called for Brenda's Brew. And I have the E and part of the little bunny girl. And I've shared before that for me, Easter's more about the lamb than the bunny. But anyway, I like this piece. And I will do some of the other ones too. So Easter, let me see if there's a picture without showing you the chart. More of a close-up. Well, I don't know. Is there? Oh, not really. Oh, yeah, there is. So that's what it'll look like when it's done. It's cute. So that is Easter, and I cut kind of a long piece so that I can do some of the other pieces too. I think I will still be stitching on this even after Easter because I don't want to carry a lot of these smalls over. And for that, I'm using all of the called for in the book are DMC. So they're nice, bright spring Easter egg jelly bean colors. So there you go. And then what else have I been stitching? Well, let's just see, Carol. The next one that I've been stitching on is Wordplay, also by Brenda Gervais. And this is May. I have March done. It's right here. Which, by the way, a lot of us stitchers use a lot of acronyms and just words that we kind of use repetitively. And somebody that's a new stitcher may not know what we're talking about. So if there's ever anything I say that you're like, what is she talking about? Just leave it in the comments. I try to answer all the comments. I'm still a little bit behind, but I do try to answer all of the comments, especially ones that have a question. I read them all, and I try to answer the ones that have a question. So anyway, here's the May wordplay that I'm working on. And ignore the needle that's in there. This is my progress on this one. I did change the blue in the May, the words May, and I changed it to, what did I change it to? Oh, I had a limited edition that doesn't have a name, but this is the color. The other thing I'm going to change, this is done on 35 count Abecedarian by R&R. R&R is a people that over dye linens. And by the way, for those of you who may not know, Dyeing to Stitch and R&R are the same company. So if you want R&R linen, the best place to call is Dyeing to Stitch in Virginia Beach. And if they have it, or if they've dyed it recently, that's the best place to get it. Oops, did I have that upside down? I think I did have that upside down, sorry. So the fence, and then, well, no, I did have it right side up. Okay, the fence is down here in the bottom. And then there's some doodads and the white on the flag. Well, that white, which is supposed to be picket fence, which is white. It's quite white. Poet and don't know it. It wasn't showing up. So I've changed it to aged pewter, which is this color. And so you can see here those 4 little doodads are aged pewter. And that's what I'm going to do the fence, the gate, and all of that. So I don't usually change, but when you have a whole section like that gate and fence, I had to change it. The next small that I've been working on is another Brenda Gervais. And this one is Bloom. I'm not going to work on Patriotic until probably the beginning of May. So all through April, I'm going to continue on these smalls that are spring-ish. Even the bunnies. We had two different rabbits. One was named Lily. I can't remember. We've had dogs, we've had rabbits, we've had fish, we've had a cat. Now we have nothing. You guys saw Bailey last week. Grand dog. My daughter also has a dog. But the bunnies were fun. My husband had built a big double-sided cage for them. And one of them, this is a rabbit trail, literally. My daughter had a birthday party, or my son, I can't remember. Well, everybody at the birthday party wanted to hold the rabbit. She died 2 days later. So we're like, And And we'd had her for a little while, so we don't know if that's... She always stayed outside. It wasn't like she was in the house. We did have friends that had a rabbit that was litter box trained and lived in the house. Oh, talk about rabbit trails. This is a rabbit trail. Okay, anyway, Bloom. I'm going to keep stitching these things through April. These are the threads. They're all the called for. And I am stitching this on R&R linen espresso. Now, if you look at it this way, it looks like it could be wool. But I'm doing the letters first, so it's Bloom. So I have to do the B, and then obviously the L comes down like that. So 35 count espresso by R&R. So that's another one that I'm working on. That's a small. And then I have another one. Oh, I do have what I thought I didn't have. Okay, good. And this one is a finish, but not fully finished. And this one is, where's the chart? Oh, here it is. Here's the chart. Spring salt boxes. And I chose to do this one first, even though this is my favorite. I talked about this last time. So I have this one finished. I did decide to go ahead and do all of the white on the bottom. There's like 17 rows of white on the bottom. But I want to do it flat, not a pillow, but flat. Sort of like just tucking a photograph in a display. That's how I want it to look. So I'll be finishing that. Hopefully I'll be able to show you that next time. And then I'm going to go ahead and start on the other one. And the other one, they use basically the same colors, just different amounts. So, like, there's red on the inside of the flowers. And that red will be used on the door. And some of the flowers on this one. Spring Salt Boxes by Plum Street. And on this I'm using, I think it's 36 count Ren. I don't think it's 40. I think it's 36. It could be 40. I'm not 100% sure. I didn't have it labeled. But it is Ren by Picture This Plus. And again, Picture This Plus is a dyer of linen. And most dyers of linen that I choose to use are by Zweigart linens, which is the base linen. So that is that. And let's see. I gotta stay somewhat organized, so when I clean this up, it won't be too much. So do you want to see the smalls that I want to start, or do you want to see the samplers I've been working on? Let's stick to smalls. Okay. And then I'll go to samplers. The next thing I want to work on, I was missing some colors, and I had to order them for Seasons of the Heart. This is spring. This is summer, autumn, and winter. And this tag that's here, when you look at the chart, there's nothing charted for underneath that tag. And I'm not going to put the tag. I think it's cute, but I'm afraid storing it, it'll get kind of goofed up. So I'm not going to do the tag. So I'll just continue that border all the way across. And this one calls for Vintage Country Mocha, 40 count, and I have a big piece. So I'll cut off some of that to do these 4. And I finally have all the colors I need. A lot of, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 of them are DMC. There's a couple that are over dyed weeks. So that one will be started soon. Since I finished those two, the one spring Saltbox and the rabbit and the rose, I'm ready to start another one. So that's fun. The next small that I want to start, and I've had this in my stash for a while. I think I ordered this kitted from Country Sampler. This is Blessings Be Thine by Brenda Gervais. Blessings Be Thine. Just neutrals, kind of soft peaches. And that one is, did I say by Brenda Gervais? That one I got as a kit because I have I think you have to over dye this pom-pom trim because it's pretty pink. Somewhere I have the threads, but I don't have them with me, but they're the called for. Oh no, I have the threads. I lied. There's one that's a Valdani. I've stitched, some of her earlier patterns have Valdani. I've stitched with Valdani, but I'm not crazy about it. I think you have to do a little bit shorter length of strand because they do shred, but I'm finding a lot of things kind of shred anymore. And I only do about a 17 to 18 inch strand. So it's not like I'm, my mom was teaching me to sew and I'd have a piece thread this long to do a hem. She said, "You going to China with that thread?" That's what she always said. Anyway, remember when you were a kid and you used to I think if you dug a hole in the backyard, you'd go all the way to China. Maybe nobody else thought of that. We thought that. Oh, I'm on the rabbit trails today. Anyway, here's the colors for that Blessings Be Thine. They're just real soft. And then the one, Valdani. We'll see. I may have a thread that's closer that's not Valdani. And this one is done on 36 count espresso. So it's going to be beautiful. I love this. Has quite a bit of modeling on this particular piece. One of the other pieces I showed was also espresso. One side is less modeled than the other. You could easily use Country Mocha on this because it's very close in color. And then the pom-pom trim, and then it also came with the linen ribbon for the bow tie on the basket. Or the bow, not really a bow tie. Okay. So that is another one that I'm going to start. So that's Spring, Seasons of the Heart, and this one will be started as soon as I finish Bloom and the May Wordplay. Putting all these things back in my basket, which I'll show you two here real quick because I got it out. This always ends up such a mess. Oh, and I want to finish those things from the Jelly Bean Jubilee. This is the piece of fabric that I think I'm going to use for the backing of the pillow on Rabbit and Rose. It's kind of a soft, it's real muted teal with roses on it. Which I have a lot of fabric in my stash, so that wasn't a problem. Okay, so that's the smalls that I want to start and that I have been working on. Whew, words are hard. Okay, and then I've really put only effort into 2 samplers. What time are we at? 24 minutes. I'm going to take a break and go get that thing that I thought I had, but I don't. The first sampler that I've been working on is the Elizabeth Cheatham by the Scarlet Letter. I love this piece. There is satin stitch, but there's no over 1. I can do over one. It just takes me more time because I normally stitch in hand with the sewing method, so I'm sewing from the top. And when I, which by the way, if you're curious how I stitch, a lot of people say, oh, show us how you stitch. If you go to, it's Jean Farish. She does a lot of tutorials. She's a very experienced teacher and stitcher and teacher. And she demonstrates types of cross stitch. I think it's number 16 in her repertoire. I'm not 100% sure. But if you pull up her YouTube and go to videos, you can pull up all of her videos and you'll be able to see. Anyway, she shows, she called it the Victorian stitch. I never knew there was a name for it. I thought I invented it. One time when I was doing a lot of grass and I was going half stitch all the way and then half back, and I thought, surely I could just do this like sewing. And I started doing that. Anyway, Elizabeth Cheatham by the Scarlet Letter. Love it. It's another one that's going to be large, grande. So I've been working on the border. This one I'm using Prairie Grass by Seraphim. Seraphim is another dyer of linen. And when I say dyer, for those of you that don't know, people that dye linen, and a lot of them are cottage industries, so they do it out of their home. I know Rachel from Needle and Flax does it out of her home. They buy yards and yards and yards of white Zweigart, and then they come up with different dye techniques, and they, dye all different colors of linens. Some are neutral, some people dye a lot of bright colors. I personally gravitate toward the ones that do more neutral since I do a lot of samplers. So anyway, I showed it last time. This is the one I said had such good coverage. So I think I was to about here on the border, so I stitched all the way across on that, and I'm working my way down. And this is the full length. So I'll go this way so you can see. So this is the length, and this is the width. It's large. Elizabeth Cheatham, and I don't know if I said, but this is on 40 count. And I love this. This is just like a routine. I can just fortunately, it's a consistent border. And sometimes what I'll do on a border is I'll prior to stitching a border, I'll go through and lightly in pencil, I'll say, okay, there's 13 spaces here, and then I'll write in the margin 13. And then there's 9 or 11 spaces here, stitches, and I'll write 11, and then 13 again here. That way I do that through the whole chart. That way if I'm doing a border and they're all the same, 13 stitches going down, 11 going across, 13, I can just not even have to look at the chart. I can just sail through. But if there are 13 and then the next one's 14, the next one's 13, the next one's 15, I also write that so that as I'm approaching that part that varies from what all the other counts are, I have that written down. So it just makes it faster. That works for me. So this is Elizabeth Cheatham. Once I get the border done, then I'm really excited to start doing some of the bands. And this bottom here that kind of looks like Bargello is actually, I don't know if there's a close-up picture of that, yeah. Is actually cross stitches. So it's not satin, it's just cross stitches. So that'll be really fun. I'm looking forward to that, to getting to that. And on that I'm using Vera Soie d'Alger. Let me show you a skein of that. I always feel bad if people are watching and they're like, well, what the heck is that? Well, what the heck is that? So, Vera Soie d'Alger. Oops, that's kind of in. Can you see it? I know there's a little bit of a shadow there. These are the skeins. For example, this is number 2242. So there's also the Aversois 103, and that's on the spools. A lot of people are using those too. That is specifically for higher counts of linen. I like the Soie, but I don't like it above 40. So if I use 46, I've done it before, but it's a little tight because it's a thicker stranded versus the 103 is finer or thick or thinner. Clear as mud? Okay, good. So that's what I'm using on Elizabeth Cheatham. The other sampler I've been working quite a bit on is Anne Uffendell by Hands Across the Sea. So I showed this last time, but I have made some progress, so I thought I'd show it again. I got the original book that has two different, it has their sisters. Now I think if you purchase it, you have to purchase them separately. So the sister is Isabella. I don't know why I didn't start with Isabella. It has a lot less over one. And less freehand. And by freehand, I'm talking about these sections here where you kind of outline. Let's see if I can show you a little picture. You outline where you're going. You outline where you're going, and then you do satin stitches across, and then you get this effect. So freehand means you're not counting threads when you stitch. In other words, you're not going 2 over 2 or 1 over 1 or whatever. You're just, making those stitches like if you were doing embroidery. In fact, it is a type of embroidery. So this is where I am on Anne. Another big one. This I filled in both of these flowers, and I also did some of the, I'm seeing a stray thread here on the back. Oh, okay. Anyway, there's these little third color, these little things. Can you see them on the, I wonder if my lighting is not showing very well. Hold on. Don't tell him I changed it. He arranges this like perfectly. Did you hear me? He arranges it perfectly. Okay, so there's these little stitches that go alongside there. So I finished those. I filled in this flower. And then I did the tree and some of the beginnings of some of the landscape there. And I'm headed toward the basket, complete with leaving a needle in it. So that's where I am on Anne. And underneath the basket is this border that goes through here, and then the first bit of freehand embroidery underneath there. So that's where I want to get to see if I can do it. Hopefully I can. We'll see. It's just for me, so if it's not perfect, it's not perfect. So that's what I've been stitching. Doesn't seem like much, but I guess 2 weeks, it's enough. I've been doing a lot of quilting, so. But I'm taking today off. I'm going to video, and then I'm going to maybe actually sew a little bit today. I'm working on a quilt that has 900 and some half square triangles because I'm a crazy woman. Okay, I'm going to pause right here, and I'm going to go get what I wanted to show you. So I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the samplers that I want to work on. I got this out the other night. I haven't worked on this in a while. This is by Blackbird. Hold, please. And that's Little Birds. I know of a couple people that have finished this one, and it's gorgeous. This came out in 2019. This was a feature piece at the attic. I was signed up to go, and that's when my daughter got sick. So I didn't go, but I did get all the goodies. So it came, I got it kitted, and this is a piece of 40 count Heartland by Picture This Plus with the overdyed cottons. Which, by the way, Blackbird has out a new book. I haven't gotten it yet, but I'm excited. It's called Crowns and Shields, and it's got a lot of Quaker pieces in it, so that's exciting. So anyway, this is the Heartland 40 count by Picture This Plus, and I always start in the upper left corner. Is that right? Yeah, upper left corner. Don't ask me why. I think Susan Alki, yard girl, she's like, why do you start there? I always start on the other side. I think it's because I stitch in hand and I hold my fabric like this. So this is like not a very big piece margin that I have to hold. So when I start, I go down and then I go across, and sometimes I will actually, since I stitch right to left, I'll turn it upside down and do this part. Then I usually will trim the fabric, and then I'll go across and across. And down. But anyway, that's all I have done. This has, no, it's cross stitch. I thought it was satin stitches in that gold second border. When I did start this, I had a lot of mistakes along here, so I think I kind of put it down because of that. But I really want to get back to it because I think it's gorgeous. Little Birds by Blackbird Designs. Here's the pattern again. It's so pretty. I love those two houses. And this takes more than a fat quarter. The piece of fabric I got was 24 by 27. It's in my Blackbird. I sent this to Christy Crosshatch Quilts, and she made me this project bag. I sent the fabric a while back, but I know it's Blackbird fabric, so I always know that that's what's in there is Blackbird. The other thing I wanted to show you, last time I showed the box that I made for my friend on the cigar box, and I wanted to show you the two things that the charts that I used. I don't think I showed you this, did I? This is Flock of Friends. It's in the book Sarah's House, which I think would be hard to get, but if you have it. And then I used this, which is a reward of merit, dear friends, and I got the letters. And then that's what I added to the bottom to make the piece fit the cigar box. The other thing, and people ask me how I attached, actually my husband did it, how I attached the piece. I laced it to a piece of mat board, and then we used double stick tape. He didn't want to glue onto the wood, so we used double stick tape, but it was double stick tape from his work that I think is kind of expensive double stick tape, but it's like industrial strength double stick tape. Okay, so then I'm going to show you a few charts that I really want to get started on. Samplers, there's lots, but These are just a couple I picked to show you. This was a Threads of History Club from Country Sampler. I got this right, I think it was in January. Jen, Calculate Stitcher, has this almost finished. She has definitely the bottom part finished. And here's the... So these are all classic Colorworks and Weeks. And it is gorgeous. Reds and pinks on that green. Oh, really pretty. So this is by Chessie and Me, and that was a club piece. And then there's two Shakespeare Peddler Kitten Stitcher pieces that I have kitted. I think this is the one I kitted with some vintage pearl barley. Yeah, vintage pearl barley by Lakeside. Here's the colors. You like that? Oh no, I thought there was a needle on there. So we've got strong greens, neutrals. I don't know if it calls for vintage pearl barley. I don't think it does. It was actually stitched on vintage country mocha, but color-wise, the pearl barley that I have is really close to the country mocha. So here's, this is why we put things on rings, because they're hard to hold when you just hold them like this. So beautiful greens, a little bit of kind of a tealy blue, and I think it'll be really nice. So the name of this chart is Cathcart Calhoun. And I've seen a gal that used to be in our stitching group, Mary Ann, finish this piece. I saw it on her Instagram, and it's gorgeous. This came out last year's market. Teresa's really hitting it out of the park with some of her new things. Teresa Vanette, Kitten Stitcher. Cathcart Calhoun. The other one is Jane Summers' work. And I don't have this one out of the package. I think this also came out last year. Yep, 2022. kittenstitcher.com. Jane Summers' work. This was done on Morning Coffee by X Jude. I love that big red house. Love it. Oops. And so I actually had some of that Morning Coffee. And this one I was smart enough to put it on a ring. Not as strong a greens, but a lot of pretty pinks and faded rose kind of colors and a lot of neutrals. And this is the Morning Coffee. It's a little bit darker than the pearl barley. But this will be nice because some of those neutrals are going to show up on there. You have to be careful sometimes with a lot of those kind of colors, because sometimes if you get too creamy, they won't show up. And for some reason, the floss ring has a snowman. Just because. Okay. I don't have a whole lot more to talk about, except I want to show you some of the things I got from Market. Get rid of one of these bags that we love to hate. But first I'm going to show you my gift. And I'm sorry, Edith, that I didn't show this last time when I showed what I gave. I had it right in front of me. I'm blaming old age. So it's, I think it's called Scissors and More, Scissors and Spools. It's a pattern by Teresa Kitten Stitcher, and she did it on red, black on red linen. I think that's Weeks Pear. And she painted this little box. It's so cool. And she lined it, put some scissors and some needles and fabric that matches. Isn't that fun? And put the little elastic for the scissors. Very fun. I was very, very happy. I love it. Very, very fun. Thank you, Edith. That was a wonderful gift. So that was my exchange gift that I received. And I have it sitting by my stitching chair. Love it. Okay, some of the things I have gotten. A friend of mine makes project bags, and she sells them within our group. And I asked her to make me one of the blackbird fabric, the blue, and the sampler fabric in blue. And we're trading for quilting, which I love. We're bartering. And then she made me a smaller one with the opposite. So the back of one and then the other. And so her name's Patty, and I thank you. You do beautiful work. So that is one of the things that I got. And then I wanted to show you some of the patterns I've ordered from Market. Since we're talking about Kitten Stitcher, this is her new Quaker pattern. It's called M. Satterthwaite. Anyway, it's a Quaker. It's very similar to Anne Grimshaw. I'm actually thinking of doing it in red. I don't know. Because I have Anne Grimshaw in black. But then I saw Christy Daisy Case Primitive. She has her black sampler wall. I don't have a full wall that I could do that, but in our hallway we have 2 walls that have pictures, photographs, family and etc. I thought it would be cool to take those black framed photographs and just intersperse them with samplers, black samplers. Thought that might look good. Anyway, I got that one from Kitten Stitcher. M. Satterthwaite, 1807, a Quaker sampler by Shakespeare's Peddler. Shakespeare's Peddler, Teresa Vanette, and Kitten Stitcher are all the same. Which, by the way, I think I've been spelling Vanette wrong. I always spelled it V-A-N-E-T-T-E, and it's really V-E-N. My apologies. The other one I got, this is from the Heart Needle Art. I really like this. Portion of the scripture, the 23rd Psalm is on here. I love the basket on the house. I just really like this. I haven't kitted it or anything. It's Elizabeth Howells, 1851. Again, the glare is just unbelievable. Elizabeth Howells from the Heart Needle Art by Wendy. Isn't that pretty? That's very pretty. And you can either do it in the Overdyed Weeks Dye Works or Gloriana Silks. 40 count, it's 7, almost 8 by almost 11. So it might even fit in an 8 by 11 frame. I mean, yeah, 9 by 12, 8 by 11. Is there an 8 by 11? Or maybe I'm thinking of the size of paper. 8.5 by 11. I got this one. This is the new, one of the new Scarlet House. This is Eliza Rossiter. This was, I think, released to the Sampler Guild of the Rockies. I think my friend Pam has finished this. This is on 40 count dirty teacup linen from Needle and Flax. with either the overdyed cottons by Weeks or DMC. I love Adam and Eve samplers. Okay, I got a couple of things kitted from Country Sampler. This is the Tomato Pin Keep, new by Brenda Gervais. This is Spring Awakens, the bunnies. And there again, I'm not in a hurry to do this just for Easter. Isn't that cute? And then the Robins Are Here by Brenda Gervais. Very cute. Little chubby robins. I love her little gingham apron or skirt, whatever. Animals with clothes crack me up. This is one that I'd really like to be one of the first ones I do in May when I start doing patriotic. Home Sweet Home by Brenda Gervais. A couple more. This is Channing Street. This was one of my very favorite. This is by Annie Bees. This is one of my very favorite market pieces. That big red house, that yard with the whatevers. Looks like there's a crocodile, a lobster, or a crab. There's some turtle. Interesting animals. Teach me to feel another's woe, to hide the fault I see. That mercy I to others show, that mercy shown to me. Beautiful border. This isn't a reproduction, I don't believe. No. It's just a memorial, it says. Channing Street. I always get the Prairie Schooler Santas. So when my daughter sells all my stuff, she has a full set when it goes to Goodwill. This is part of the, Mike, can you reach that top one? You probably can't reach it. He's 6'4", I'm 5'1".
For $1.
Sometimes he can reach more than $1's pretty cheap, actually. Oh, good job. Good job. Okay. There's 3 in a series by Needlework Press. This is In All Things Be Diligent that I've already obviously finished and framed. The second one is, I think it's Be Kind. It has the word kind in it. So this is the first one. In all things be exceedingly diligent. Don't leave me hanging here. I didn't get out. I should have gotten out the second pattern. I haven't done it yet. And then here's the third one that they just Needlework Press just released this year. And this is Be a Friend. So here's the one that I just showed you finished. It's on the back of this one. And then the second one is called Be Kind, and it's vertical. So you'll have one that goes this way, one that goes this way, and then this one will fill in. Oh, here it is, right there. So this is the Be Kind, this is the Be Diligent, and then this is Be a Friend. Two more things. It is market, so. This is Marianne Kopp by Brenda Gervais. I also got the one about the flower. Didn't I show you that before? I had gotten that one before. Every Opening Flower by Brenda Gervais. But this is another sampler. Marianne Kopp. I love this. By With Thy Needle and Thread. And then the very last thing I'm going to show you. If you don't have this book, you're missing out. This is Most Humble Hands by Kitten Stitcher. So she released this one and that Quaker one this year. I think that's, well, I shouldn't say. I'm not sure if those were her only releases or not. Find Teresa at kittenstitcher.com. This is called Most Humble Hands. And if you watch her latest floss tube, she went through the book. But it has a lot of beautiful marking samplers. Most of them are red. This one's got, some are black. No, take that back. Some are black, some are red. But you go to Kitten Stitcher floss tube, here's one. They're just gorgeous. There again, this could go on that black sampler wall that I'm jealous of Christy Daisy K. So when I got it, I had ordered an autograph one. It says on the inside, "Stay humble, Teresa Vanette." I thought, oh, that's so nice, because I've met her. I would consider her a friend. I've met her at a number of retreats. I thought, oh, that's so nice. She thinks I'm humble. She wants me to stay humble. And then I was like, duh, that's the name of the book, Most Humble Hands. I thought it was personal. That would be kind of an ego, Carol. The last thing I wanted to show you, I've heard other people talk about this. So I was at Hobby Lobby to get some floss. And I saw this, it's cheap, $6.49. It's Zweigart linen, 46 count. Now they didn't have 40, but they had 32 and 46. I don't think they had 36, but they could have. $6.49 for a piece that is 11 by 18. And this is the color oat. I mean, it feels maybe a little thinner, so I don't know if this is specially woven. I don't know. It feels thinner than regular linen. But for a couple smalls, I thought it would be kind of fun to try it. I mean, for $6.49, if you stitch on 32 count, I mean, it says it's Zweigart. Now, obviously, all Zweigart may not be the same. You know, the linen that we buy overdyed with the red stripe, and I don't know if this had a red stripe or not, because this particular cut did not, but could have been cut from the middle of the piece. Anywho, I'm going to try it for $6.49, and if you use a coupon, you can get it for even cheaper. So if you like 32, it says it's 100% linen. It can be washed. So I don't know. We'll see. They had white and this color. This is called oat. Bristol is the count. Zweigart names the counts of the linen. So Bristol is 46. I don't have anything else sitting here. So I guess I'm done. I hope you all have a nice Easter. Always remember, if the tomb is empty, anything is possible. Our pastor just put out a new book, Anything is Possible. He's a gifted man. So I'm gonna have my husband put our church's address. You can watch online if you don't have a church home. But I hope that I hope you all have a good Easter. And if you want the Easter Bunny to come, then I hope he comes. Brings you a basket full of candy. Why are holidays all about candy and food? I don't know, but they seem to be. So anyway, that is all I have for today. I hope you have a good week, and I will be back in a couple weeks, Lord willing, and the creeks don't rise. Love you. Bye.